Hey man, let's talk about something most men never admit. The pain of being hurt by a woman you truly cared about. Not a random girl, not a casual fling, but the one you gave your trust, your time, your energy to. The one you saw a future with. The one who made you believe her words meant forever. And then somewhere along the way, she changed. The warmth faded, the respect disappeared, and suddenly you're left staring at a stranger wearing the face of someone you once loved. That pain hits different because it doesn't just bruise your heart, it shakes your identity. The first instinct most men have is to react, to fight back, to prove a point, to make her feel the same pain she caused you. But that reaction is the trap. Because the moment you start fighting for closure, for explanation, for justice, you've already lost. You're trying to reason with emotion. You're trying to find logic in chaos. And that never works. The truth is, when a woman hurts you, she's not in her rational state, she's in her emotional one. And emotions have no loyalty to truth. You've got to understand something. Pain is her weapon, and your reaction is her validation. When you chase, argue, explain, or beg, you feed her ego, not her empathy. You think your words will open her eyes, but they only reassure her that she still has power over you. That's why the only way to handle a woman who hurts you is not through reaction, but through removal. You stop feeding her the emotional energy that sustains her control. You go quiet, not out of weakness, but out of wisdom. Your silence will confuse her at first. She'll expect anger, she'll expect confrontation, but when she gets nothing, no message, no explanation, no validation, that's when the power shifts. Because silence, when it comes from a man who once cared deeply, is not emptiness, it's strength. It's a message she can't interrupt, manipulate, or twist. It's your way of saying, you don't deserve my energy anymore. And that's what burns her the most, the realization that she no longer has access to the emotions she used to control. The hardest part is the withdrawal, because you'll crave closure like an addict craves relief. You'll want to text her, to explain, to demand understanding, but that's your ego fighting reality. You're not craving her, you're craving the feeling of being seen again. But here's the truth, she already saw your pain and she didn't care. So what do you gain by showing it again? The only cure for that craving isn't her reply, it's your restraint. The day you stop needing her understanding is the day you start healing. When a woman hurts you, it's because she knows she can. Think about that. Strangers can't break your heart. Only those you let close have that power. And once you realize she used that closeness to wound you, something inside you should awaken, not in bitterness, but in awareness. That's your wake-up call to never let emotional access go unearned again. To never let comfort blind you to character. To never give the same level of loyalty to someone who hasn't shown they can protect it. Here's the brutal truth. Most women don't hurt men because they hate them. They hurt men because they assume you'll stay anyway. They rely on your forgiveness, your softness, your emotional endurance. They test your limits without expecting consequences. That's why your reaction matters more than your words. When you walk away without drama, without threats, without emotional theatrics, you teach her something no lecture ever could. Losing you has real consequences. But don't make the mistake of walking away for her. You're not doing it to teach her a lesson or to make her chase. You're doing it because staying where you're disrespected destroys your self-worth. The longer you stay in a situation where your value isn't recognized, the more you start doubting it yourself. And that's how most strong men break. Not from heartbreak, but from self-betrayal. You don't walk away to hurt her, you walk away to save yourself. When she realizes your energy has truly left, that's when the regret begins. Not because she suddenly became a better person, but because she lost her reflection. You were her validation mirror, the one who saw beauty in her chaos, loyalty in her inconsistency, innocence in her manipulation. And when that mirror disappears, she's forced to face herself. That's when the guilt creeps in, when she starts remembering the things she once took for granted. But by then, it won't matter, because your silence will already have spoken. The most powerful thing you can do is not to try and change her behavior, but to change your focus. Redirect every ounce of pain she caused you into building yourself. Hit the gym, chase your goals, refine your discipline, master your emotions. Because every minute spent trying to understand why she hurt you is a minute stolen from your own evolution. Pain is energy, and where you direct it determines who you become after the heartbreak. The moment you start transforming instead of reacting, she'll feel it. She'll sense your detachment, even from miles away. She'll try to test it, subtly, indirectly, maybe with a small text or a nostalgic post. But this time, you won't bite, because your silence is no longer a weapon, it's protection. You've realized that every time you respond, you reopen a wound that's trying to heal. You stop bleeding for someone who handed you the knife. A woman who hurts you will often expect forgiveness on her timeline. She'll think she can vanish and return whenever it suits her. But once you've found peace, you no longer play by her rules. You don't owe her a second chance just because she feels regret. Forgiveness doesn't mean reconnection. You can forgive quietly and still close the door permanently, because some people need to lose access to you to finally learn the value of what they had. You'll notice something as you detach. Your clarity returns. You start remembering who you were before her, the laughter that wasn't filtered through anxiety, the ambition that wasn't diluted by overthinking, the peace that didn't depend on a text message. That's when you realize how much of yourself you gave up trying to keep her. And that realization stings at first, but then it strengthens you, because you finally see how powerful you are when your energy belongs only to you. Handling a woman who hurts you isn't about punishment, it's about boundaries. You teach people how to treat you by what you tolerate, and if you tolerate disrespect, you invite repetition. But when you stand firm in silence, when you stop chasing explanations, when you stop rewarding inconsistency, the game changes. You stop being an option in someone else's story and start becoming the author of your own. Understand this, your absence will always hit harder than your anger. Anger gives her something to fight against. Absence gives her nothing to work with. Anger keeps her emotionally involved. Absence forces her into reflection, and that's what hurts her the most. Not your rage, but your peace. Because peace means indifference. And indifference means she no longer has influence. The longer you stay distant, the more you heal. The same silence that once felt like punishment starts to feel like freedom. You stop replaying the conversations, the betrayals, the confusion. You start focusing on yourself. And as your energy grows, your perspective shifts. You stop asking, why did she hurt me? And start asking, why did I allow it for so long? That's the moment you reclaim your power. Once you handle her with silence and self-respect, she'll eventually try to return. Not because she's changed, but because she misses the energy you provided. But this time, you'll see through it. You'll recognize the same patterns in different words, the same manipulation dressed in apology, and you'll stay calm. Because peace makes you immune to emotional tricks. You'll realize you don't need revenge. Your growth is revenge enough. And as you evolve, you'll stop seeing her as the villain. You'll start understanding that her actions were a reflection of her own wounds, not your worth. She couldn't love you properly because she doesn't love herself properly. You'll stop personalizing her betrayal. That's when you know you've truly healed. When you can think of her without anger, without pain, without wanting her to feel what you felt. Because peace is the real closure. A man's power lies not in his ability to control a woman, but in his ability to control himself. The man who can stay calm when he's hurt, who can stay kind without being naive, who can walk away without resentment. That's a dangerous man, because nothing can be taken from him that he's not willing to let go of. He doesn't chase chaos, he outgrows it. And once you reach that level of control, you stop fearing heartbreak altogether. Here's the thing. When you stop reacting, you break her cycle. Because women who hurt good men often rely on your forgiveness to repeat the pattern. But when you cut off that supply of second chances, they're forced to confront their behavior. Your silence becomes their mirror. They finally see the emotional destruction they caused. And for once, they have to face it without your comfort. That's karma, not cruelty. Handling a woman who hurts you doesn't end with ignoring her. It ends with rebuilding yourself so powerfully that her memory fades in comparison. You start setting higher standards. You stop entertaining surface-level connections. You become so self-aware that the next time someone tries to manipulate you, they fail instantly. You don't need to expose them. Your peace exposes their immaturity. You'll find that peace changes everything. The world looks different when you're no longer bleeding emotionally. The things that used to trigger you stop mattering. The people who used to drain you stop existing in your mental space. You stop expecting loyalty from the disloyal and honesty from the inconsistent. You finally accept people for who they are, And that acceptance is freedom. And when she sees that peace, when she realizes she can no longer affect you, that's when regret hits hardest. Not because she lost you, but because she lost the version of herself that you brought out. You made her feel calm, safe, adored. And now that version of her no longer exists, because you took your energy with you. And that's the price of hurting a good man. The loss of emotional safety she'll never feel again. You'll look back one day and thank her. Not for the pain, but for the lesson. Because her betrayal taught you what self-respect really means. It taught you that love without boundaries is self-destruction. It taught you that silence is stronger than explanation. And most importantly, it taught you that peace isn't found in people. It's found in discipline. That's how a man becomes unbreakable. So remember this, brother. When a woman hurts you, your reaction defines your evolution. Don't scream, don't chase, don't explain. Withdraw with dignity. Heal in silence, rise with purpose. Because every time you handle pain with composure, you upgrade your masculinity. You remind the world and yourself that no matter how deeply a woman wounds you, she can't destroy what she didn't build. Your peace, your purpose, your power, they were always yours. And now you finally understand how to protect them.